Guys, this part one of your test is scheduled for tomorrow, right? And I think on Power School, I have a pretty representative list of things to like worry about for the test tomorrow. Are there any questions kind of from that list or any clarification I need to make, Bella?
I have just a few questions in general. So when it says convert between equations for a line or plane written in slope intercept form component form linear combination form and IV component form. So we're gonna have to know like how to convert from each different type. Like,
So what I'm basically saying is if I ask you to write your answer in a specific form, you should be able to do that
okay. And then
for any of those three representations, or should be able to read it, any one of those three representations and like get what you need to out of it.
okay.
Does that make sense?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Do you have like any examples like on the study guide that
Well, like more often than not on the study guide, I tell you like how I want you to write your equation. Or I wrote it in this, I guess I did, maybe I don't.
there were some that was like write this in IV?
Yeah, so like that's the kind of thing what I mean.
Okay.
So like you should be able to write an answer in any of those three forms or four forms or whatever based on the direction, or if I give you an equation, one of those three forms, you should be able to get what you need to out of it, even if it's not in like IB component form. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then if it's find the vector equation of a line given 2 points, so basically you're just giving 2 points and you have to like find the slope and then write the equation. Is that?
Or if it's three-dimensional, you do something a little bit differently, but yes. Well, you need 3 points for three-dimensional, but yes.
Yeah, so that's just the like the R like the AX plus Y, that one or no?
It's probably easier than that, than what you're describing.
Oh, okay.
But I think that that's probably quite similar to,
Like just given 3 points, so it's like for example, like on the study guide, I think it was like question 2, but it was like towards the end.
yeah, so like if you looked at the homework, like things like 107 to 110 or 69 to 72 would be both 2 points and write the equation for the line problems, whether it's in 1D or 3D.
Okay.
Is that okay there?
Yeah.
And if you wanted a plane, you'd be given 3 points, which is similar to what you guys saw on page 9 on the study guide. Is that okay, Bella?
Yeah, I'm just gonna look at page 9.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Like A and B for
Yeah.
9?
The top of page 9, those first two questions are both writing the plane, or the equation for the plane, given 3
Okay,
points.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Anyone else on just like format or little whatever kind of general test questions before we deal with specific problems? Okay. Any specific things that you guys want to talk about here today? Jackie?
So for a line and a line, I found out that intersection of how do I find the
Okay. Do you have a specific problem where you found the intersection of them for?
The number 120.
120. Great. Oh, come on now. I'm sorry. Yes, we'll do the whole thing straight through if this pen wanted to work for me. Yeah. This is 120 then. Yes, Jackie?
I think they're intersecting.
Yeah, we'll check along the way. Sydney said she wanted to see that part also. So we'll do the thing straight through if that's okay.
Okay.
I know that's maybe a little bit more than you wanted, but if you're uncertain about whether they're intersecting or not, we should check that along the way. So the first thing I'm going to do is check to see if these two lines are parallel. So I'm just going to take the one slope vector and see if it's equal to a constant times the other slope vector. Clearly not, right? I can see right away because I have a 0 here and I don't have a 0 there. Is everybody okay with that? So immediately I can see that they're not parallel. That tells me they are intersecting. Well, or like non-parallel, non-intersecting. Sydney, you good with that? Okay. So now we'll check for the intersecting part. To do this, I'm just going to set the two objects that I want to intersect equal to each other. Okay with that, Jackie? Okay. So here I have R3 and R4. We good there? Okay. From this, I'm going to create a system of 3 equations. And let's format these so that they're all kind of on the same side. So let's see, I get 3D plus 2C equals -6. And I'll get 0, oh, I should write it in alphabetical order, 2C plus 3D. Well, 0C plus 5D equals -20. And then I have -1C plus 3D equals -9. So I could solve this system now if I wanted to, but I noticed right away that it's easy to see that D has to be -4. And if I plug that in, say to, I don't know, how about here? If D is -4, that's -12, so C has to be -3. But either way, once I have those, I just need to check then with the third equation that I haven't used. Should that have been a +3? Did I screw something up here? Let me check my answer key real quick before. I always get nervous when I just kind of like hand wavy solve those things, because I'm a moron and make like just like the dumbest mistakes possible sometimes. Hold on, I have my answers in here somewhere. Just I've accumulated too many papers. Okay, I don't need you anymore. Go away. You're just scrap paper. Go away. You I don't need anymore. There you are. Don't need any more. All right. Okay, so these are supposed to intersect, so this is supposed to work real quick. So let's just double check what I did here. Okay, I see my mistake. This is supposed to be +1C, so that's supposed to be a +3. And if I do that, then that works. So these are intersecting then. Sydney, you good with how I've determined that was intersecting? Okay. Now to find the point of intersection, I'm just going to take either the C or the D, it doesn't matter which one, and plug it back into one of the two original equations for my line into the appropriate place. So let's say we use C equals 3. Because I'm using C, I'm going to select the equation, whatever, are you sure that I have my answers still sitting here somewhere? There it is. So I have R3 equals 3, 8, negative 7 plus negative 2, 0, negative 1 times 3. So if I do that, I get the point then, negative 3, 8, and then negative 10. Jackie, are you happy with that? Oh, good. Sydney, were you good with that as well? Okay. You're welcome. Sorry I made kind of a mess of that, stumbling through, looking through all my papers. Ella? Sure. Bella?
Okay, I know this is kind of a lot to ask, but is there any way that we could go through the review and I know myself and others are having trouble identifying which questions are which. Could we go through and you tell us the types of questions that on the review that have the focus questions that you have for part 1?
I mean, sometimes it's not that specific.
Yeah. It's like a general, what we observed for part 1, question 1, for example,
Yeah, you should be able to do vector operations.
Okay, and then the resultant vectors that
The sketching the graph.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be able to draw a graph if I asked you to, specifically for the story problems the vector story problems where you kind of need to be able to draw that graph to be able to get the right answer.
Okay.
Would be helpful for you.
Okay.
But it's not super critical.
Okay, and then when you said find the magnitude direction.
Yeah.
So for direction angle, is that kind of what
Question 3. Can you give me a page number?
Page 2.
Page 2. Yes. Yeah, those are direction problems.
But these bearing problems, the next ones are not necessary for part 1.
Correct. The bearing story problems would be in part 2 of the test.
And then the next part, the multiplication and integration, that is part 1.
So what page are you looking at right now?
Page 4.
Page 4. Yes, if I asked you to do a dot product or a vector projection, you should be able to do that in part 1.
Okay, and then question 6 on part 4 would be a part 2 question, or page 4, I mean.
The vector story problems, or the projection story problems are a part 2.
Part 2.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then these are the find the equation of the line on page 5, that's part 1.
Yes, that is accurate.
And then intersections of line, that's part 2.
I believe so.
Okay.
Let me just double check, but I believe that's correct. That is accurate.
Okay, and then page 6,
Yes. Yeah, intersections of objects are part 2 questions.
and then all of page 7, would that be a part 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the indicated point line on the line, those are part 2? Or are those part 1?
Here's what I would say. I mean, if I asked you to do something that was that specific, that would be a part 1 question.
Okay.
In all reality, though, this is what you're doing when you're checking to see if, like, things, like if the lines are overlapping, for instance, this is the check that you're doing.
Oh,
which is a part 2. Like, so it's hard to kind of classify that, whether you want to, like, if it's this specific, it would be a part 1 question, but you have to do this as part of
part 2.
like those intersection problems in general.
Part 1 and review it for part 2 kind of deal?
Or just know where in
Just
part
know it.
2 it goes.
Okay.
Like, I guess I would say, but I don't want to, like, that's one where it's like, kind of to me.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then on page 8,
Yes.
question 4.
Sketching the graphs would be a part 1 question.
Part 1.
Yep. You should be able to generate points on a plane and sketch the plane or the vector or whatever.
And then the A and B on page 9, those are part 1, correct?
I would say, here's what I would say is that the vector, the IB component form version, is a part 1 question.
The Cartesian would be a part 2.
The Cartesian would be like a part 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a fair representation there.
And then
Because it's quite a bit more for the Cartesian form, right?
Yeah.
You have to do, it's a little bit more involved.
and question 6 is kind of what we talked about before, that it's like, it could be a part 1 question that's this specific.
Yes, if it's that specific, I would call it a part 1 question. But that's a skill that comes up during all those intersecting objects questions.
And then the next question on page 10, that's part 2.
Yes, I think really from 10 on is all part 2 stuff.
Okay, and then these little formulas at the bottom will be given to us.
The angle between 2 vectors and the projection of a vector are formulas that will appear on the test.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Adam. Of course. Do you guys want to work through anything else? I'm happy to do some more. If you just need me to shut up and let me work on things, that's fine too. So if anybody has other things they want to do as a group, I'd be happy to do that. Or if you just need me to shut up and get out of your way, like, I get it. Okay.
Yeah, I think just going through the study guide on our own and asking you questions, like,
Lovely.
would be.
That's easy for me. So we'll do that.